Hi there, this is Dr. John Whitcomb talking about insulin and diabetes. It's not glucose that's the problem, it's insulin that's the problem. We focus on the glucose, but that's a side effect. Insulin is the core driver. And here's the experiment that shows that. We now know, for example, that insulin is a proliferative hormone, and it makes particularly the cells of your kidneys proliferate, and so it starts causing kidney damage years before folks get uncontrolled blood sugar. That may be the problem. What's going on with insulin resistance? Well, here there's all sorts of conjecture, but the thought is when you flood your body with too much glucose, particularly too much fructose from high fructose corn syrup, we know that your liver gets overwhelmed quite quickly. And in your islets of your pancreas where you make insulin, there's a curious loss of connection between the islet cells that secrete insulin. You have these little things called connexins, which are the little tubules between cells that allow them to communicate with each other. And there's pretty good evidence that those connections are probably mucked up in diabetes, and that reduces the ability to make a coordinated response to glucose. So you end up having a insulin resistance, and so your insulin has to be higher. What I really like is the explanation that comes along with the explanation may or not be physiologically proven, but this is how you act. Your fat cells are only so sized, and they have roughly a couple 100,000 insulin receptors on the surface. If they get larger, those insulin receptors get further apart, and as they get further apart, you have to have a higher insulin level to respond to them. So you become glucose resistant. Why do they get fat? Well, when you eat fructose, you force your liver to make triglycerides, because fructose floods into your liver, and your liver in a panic can't do anything but make triglycerides to get rid of them. And in fact, you exhaust the ATP of your liver and you raise your uric acid. That's another side effect. But we do know there's abundant literature that very short courses of high insulin, of high fructose, will give you metabolic syndrome within a month. The movie Supersize Me proved it. Go to a fast food restaurant 3 times a day and drink sugared soda and have ice cream and milkshakes. You'll be diabetic within a month, and you'll have liver enzymes elevating. What's the conclusion from all this? The only way to break this cycle is to get your peroxisomes healthier by fasting and slowing down the input of calories so that your peroxisomes can get to work processing all those excess triglycerides. So intermittent fasting, compress your calories into 8 hours a day, do once a month fast mimicking diet of 800 calories for 5 days, less than 8% protein, 50% fat. Any of those things will gradually reduce your triglycerides down to normal, and that will get your insulin sensitivity better. And then your glucose follows. Focus on the insulin. What will work for me? I want an insulin level below 7. 5 would be better. The average American has around 12. So get your insulin level checked. That's more important than your glucose. Your glucose is incidental. And if you weigh too much, you need to start losing weight. If you want to do a deep dive into connexins, that's kind of fun. You can Google and read that. But focus on the intermittent fasting, losing weight, and cutting down your calories. This is Dr. John Whitcomb with News and Nutrition. It's insulin that's the problem with diabetes.